went ahead and started our recording. Let's see. And Anna should be joining in now. All right. Hey, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Good to see you. Good to see you again. And real quick, does my volume sound good to you, ladies? Okay. Okay. Awesome. Well, Anna, thank you for joining. I have Miss Christy here with me. She is also with Girl Scouts. And so we'll get started in a second. We're just going to wait to see if we have any other Girl Scouts that want to log in. And today we're talking about advocating for change. So I did ask you ladies to have a notebook or a journal. Do you have that with you? Okay, perfect. Were you able, I don't know if you're on your cell phone right now or a computer, but do you have a cell phone or tablet? You do? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, so we'll get started in about 4 or 5 minutes and we will go from there. We're gonna be talking about a lot of different things, trying to combine a couple of the badges together for our seniors and ambassadors. So we'll jump around a little bit on that. Now, Anna, I think you told us the last time we were on for our session, you are a rising junior in high school?
A rising senior.
Rising senior, okay. So that means you are an ambassador already. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So let's see here. Now, did you earn the Behind the Ballot badge when you were a senior?
She's looking.
She's looking.
I don't know. I think I did. Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay. So I asked that because some of the information might be the same, which is fine. But have you already earned your public policy badge yet?
No, I haven't done that one.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to get you started on that a little bit today, and then you'll be able to finish up all the other steps on your own. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. We'll get started. And I know we just have you online. So there's a couple things that I'll be asking. So I do ask that you answer. If you don't know the answer, it is okay. You can tell me, Miss Lindsay, I do not know the answer. And then we'll walk through it as best as we can. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. So again, I'm Lindsay Roberson, one of the program managers with Girl Scouts of South Carolina Mountains to Midlands. I'm based out of the Columbia area at our Leadership Center, and I'm very happy that you all are joining. We are going to be talking about advocating for change, and that's going to be just a little bit of our public policy badge for ambassadors, and then Behind the Ballot badge, which is for our senior Girl Scouts. So let's jump right in. You already have your materials, journal or a notebook, pen or pencil, and then phone or tablet with internet connection, because we're going to be looking up some information in a little bit. But just wanted to give you the steps for the Behind the Ballot badge, as well as the steps for public policy. So, and I know you've already completed your senior badge for Behind the Ballot. Excuse me. So these are the steps here. It's find out more about elections, investigate the ins and outs of voting, get out the vote, and then plan a campaign and explore voting in other countries. And then the public policy badge is more focused on finding out how activists advocate for change, engage as global citizens, dig into national or state public policy, explore local or community policy, and then C, public policy creation in action. So we're gonna dig a little bit into those steps today. But as always, we wanna start off with our promise and our Girl Scout law. So we'll start with that. On my honor, I will try to serve God in my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. All right, the Girl Scout law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. All right. So the purpose of our badges today, when you have learned these badges, you will be able, you will know about public policies and how you can influence legislation that matters to you, and the importance of voting and how people get elected to office. So let's go ahead and dig in. So Anna, I will ask, what is public policy? Do you know what that is? Or do you have an idea?
I guess it's like different laws and regulations that affect like the public and people.
That is exactly right. That's exactly right. Perfect. Awesome. So public policy is a system of laws or set of actions the government takes to address issues within this society. So that's perfect. Thank you for that answer. Awesome. So do you know of any examples of systems of laws or a set of actions?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
So no, you're fine. So do you know of any laws like that are currently in place that we follow? So I'll give you an example. So maybe with, or actually I can just click, sorry, I clicked all of them for you. So you have the economic affairs. So we have laws on budgets and taxes. We have laws that are within our education system. We have laws of pollution regulations. So you may have seen a lot of girls who are doing their gold award. I mean, a lot of them will choose something that deals with pollution or keeping the environment safe and clean. You have your laws in healthcare, and then of course you do have women's rights. And so I hope that gave you a better understanding of that question. I apologize. I didn't mean to show all of the answers. But those are just different laws that we already have in place. Of course, there are a lot more that are out there. So I do say research those a little bit more. Awesome. So we know what public policy is. So let's talk a little bit about what is activism. So do you know what that is?
It's like standing up for something that you believe in and trying to get some sort of change out of it.
Exactly. And I love the way you put that together. Exactly. That's exactly right. So it is a policy or an action of using vigorous campaigning to bring about political or social change. So we see a lot of activists out in the communities trying to bring change within their local community. So do you know any female activists who have been some real change makers at all? No?
I mean, there's like a bunch, but I don't know any names right off the top of my head.
Okay,
I do know that I'm pretty involved in like the environmental side of stuff, so I know like Greta Thunberg.
Okay, yes.
And her school strike, and then
awesome. Good. So it sounds like you've done some research a little bit, and I like that you said what your passion was with the environment and how you connected with that female activist because you two have that same passion or have that same interest. So when you are looking into activists or activism, you want to consider an issue that you do care about. Perhaps it could be about job creation. You mentioned environmental protection, anti-bullying laws, or financial aid with college, distracted driving. There's a whole bunch of different topics that you really can choose from. And when you pick that choice, you want to be able to see if there's something that you can improve your understanding of with that public policy that surrounds the topic of your choosing, okay? So I want you to, I know you have your notebook, I want you to take your phone or tablet, whichever you have. And since you've already said a passion, what I want you to do is to kind of look up other female activists who may have that same line of passion as yours. And I'll give you about 3 minutes to do that. Just look up a couple of ladies, and then I'll look up with you too, because I would be interested in seeing who has that passion and who's vocal about it. Let's see. Activist. And while you're looking that up, Anna, I do want to point out, being an activist or activism doesn't have to be something that is negative. You can definitely stand up for what you believe in a non-negative way. So I do want to point that out because it doesn't mean sometimes when people may hear that word vigorous, it may come out as negative, but it's not. It just means that you are very passionate about that topic and you may just want to see some change with it. And along with that, you have to be able to voice your opinion in a firm way. So I say that to say, to not be afraid to be an activist in your community about a topic that you care about. Let's see. All right. I think I found a link. I do see Miss Greta on here. Let's see. I do see, and do you see any names? Let me see what you see before I say anything.
There's one that I found. She was a Rachel Carson. She's a author, and she wrote about like the pesticides and things like that.
I do see her. I do see, and I do not know how to pronounce the first name, but I see Hilda in her name, and she's from Uganda. So I do see that. And do you see any others? Oh, I do see a young lady out of Flint, Michigan, and I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. I believe her first name is pronounced Isra. Awesome. And anyone else that you want to point out that you may see?
Not particularly.
Not really? Okay, okay. Well,
I
this is
have heard of I think that's how you pronounce.
okay. Yes,
I've heard of her.
awesome, awesome. Awesome. So I found this website. that has about 12 young ladies on here. So I'm sure you probably are looking at the same one or something similar. And so, Anna, what I want to challenge you with is to continue to do research on this topic, because I think you may find, and I'm trying to remember what you were going to be doing for your Gold Award. Excuse me, because I know we talked about it a little bit. So definitely add this to your research if this is the topic, and I believe it is, that you want to continue to focus on, because this will help just see it in a different light, just to see what other individuals are advocating about and to see if that just falls in line with what you would like to advocate as well, as being an activist in your community. Okay, awesome. So thank you for doing that small activity. Again, continue to do that. With this particular badge, it requires a lot of research and a lot more time to go through all those steps, because there's many things that you can explore. So continue to do that over the course of the next couple of weeks. Awesome. So let's talk about exploring your local community policies. So in a couple of years, you're going to get a chance to, you're going to be in the legislative action. So either you're going to be voting or you're going to be an active policy advocate. So I want you to learn about, or be prepared about, when it's your turn to take that lead in your community. So one of the great things that you can do is attend local or community meetings where you're going to be able to learn more about methods of starting a position, and then just kind of stating a position to see if it's effective or if it's not as effective. And also if you're going to agree or disagree with a policy or decision that has been reached, okay? So when I say those local community meetings, what comes to mind? What kind of meetings do you think that you can attend to find out all this information?
I've heard of town hall meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's like for like school related things, there's like the school board meetings and things like that.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So you can go to school board meetings, you can attend student council meetings. Town halls are, of course, a perfect way to just see other members of your community, even some members of your legislators that might come out to those meetings, so they can start listening to the questions that those people have that live in that community. Also, I want to point out, you can actually attend Senate and House of Representative meetings. So at the State House here in Columbia downtown, the senators and the House of Representatives will hold sessions. I believe they are in session from beginning of the year to about June, I believe. And I think the last day they had session was this Wednesday. Yeah, it was this Wednesday. So what we're allowed to do as citizens is we can go into the State House while they're in session. You can literally go upstairs and sit in the balcony and kind of listen in on the different meetings and hear what they are voting on. If you're not able to physically be there, of course, you can watch it on TV. You can watch it on your internet as well, just to see what they're talking about. There's some moments where it may be closed doors of the chambers, which is fine, and they'll even turn the recordings off for us to listen, so we can't listen in on. But it's very open and very public. You can also find all the information online too, if there's anything that you may have missed. One thing I do want to point out, when you're going to the South Carolina State House or any state house, is you may see other individuals there who are called lobbyists. Have you heard of that before?
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay. So I'll give you a quick run through of how it might look when you walk into the State House. So you'll see a lot of individuals just kind of hanging around outside of the chambers. And again, those people are lobbyists. And so what they are, they're paid for by a group such as a corporation, a union, or organization. And what lobbyists do is they promote and share information with legislators and influence them to vote in a certain way. So if it's something with education that they feel very strongly about, they'll come in. There's pieces of paper literally that they'll write on. They're just kind of passing notes back and forth to get that senator or that House of Representative to vote in a certain way. So it's a very neat thing to see all of this action going on. It's usually very loud and very crowded. And have you heard of our PAGE program before?
I think so.
Okay. So our PAGE program allows up to 12 Girl Scouts to have those opportunities, and they get to go in the State House and get to be on the floor and just kind of see how everything works. So they also get to talk to some of the lobbyists, senators, and House of Representatives. So hopefully next year, that is a program that we'll still be able to physically do, depending on where the pandemic is. But that's just a great way to learn even more about public policies, about who's our lawmakers in the area, and what kind of answers and what kind of things are they dealing with. Okay. All right. So again, thank you for those answers too. I do encourage you to attend some of those meetings as they come up. So let's talk a little bit about how to effectively talk to members of Congress. So again, you're going to attend those town hall meetings. It's a great opportunity to be heard and ask questions. You can also mail letters to district offices. One great thing about the internet is you can pretty much find an address if you need it, or a phone number if you need it. And I'll take you to a website in just a second so you can see how to find those things. And of course, get involved in local advocacy groups. So if at your school there might be a youth in government organization, I don't know if it's one at your school or not, is it?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And that might be something to look into. I know this is your last year. I'm sure you have a lot on your plate. But even if you want to, maybe you don't want to join that organization, but seeing if you can sit in on one of their meetings just to hear the things that they might be discussing, because it might be of interest to you. So I want to backtrack a little bit to mailing the letters to district offices. So whenever you are doing that, there's just a couple of tips there. You want to give your name and the reason why you're writing to them. And if you're writing about a specific bill, you want to use its name and number. So each bill will have its own name and have its own number. You want to make sure that you're specific with that. You also want to be able to explain your concern of the issue so they can understand what that might be. And also you want to keep your letter brief and polite, and include your return address and ask for a response. Excuse me. So those are just a couple of tips. So what are some questions you would ask or you would think about asking?
I'm not sure. I've seen a couple of different, like, large groups have like forms or different things that you can send to the congressman. Like, I know the Fair Food Allergy and Research and Education has some stuff going on with like some sort of law that would help with people who have sesame seed allergies, things like that. And they have a like form you can fill out, and it tells you how to do all the, it tells you how to do certain things, and then it's like that you send to your congressman or something like that. And I know the Sierra Club does some of that kind of stuff too.
That's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up as well. And I remember another program you were involved in where you talked about food allergies and things like that. So that is really good. So one thing, I'll answer this question. So one thing for me, and I remember, depending on what you personally believe in, or, things that might affect you, that's going to affect the type of questions that you have for individuals in Congress. So one thing for me, I'm already not a picky person, but I would say within the area that I live in, there's a lot of different construction going on with the roads. Some areas might be more dangerous than others. So, and the construction's been going on for a while, as they tend to anyway. So that might be a question that I bring up, is kind of where our community or where our city is on meeting those deadlines with construction, because it does kind of affect um, just different accidents that might happen in specific areas. Maybe there needs to be a light added here or there. And again, keep in mind, these are probably things that they get questions about all the time. So they're probably already thinking about it. But what if not? So you want to be the person that can at least start that conversation. Okay. All right. So let's talk about how will you find your legislators. So a really easy website to go to is the South Carolina State House website. Have you been to that before?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe,
Well,
I'm not sure.
not sure. Okay. I'm going to take you there today, and I will get you to write their website, and I'm going to click on it for you so you can see it. And let's see, can you see my screen of the website?
No, I don't see the website.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to share that with you. All right. Can you see it now? Perfect. Perfect. All right. So this is the scstatehouse.gov website. This is pretty much where you would go to if you want any information about your House of Representatives or your Senates. Also, you'll see up here on the left-hand side is that you can kind of click on the chamber videos. Right now it's audio only, but they do have video schedules and then the video archive, so you can go back and look at other sessions. I'm going to come down and click on, I clicked on how do I. So you can start there because it just gives you a couple of FAQs. But we're now going to click on the tab as find your legislators. And so when you come here, you would simply just put in your address, your city, and your zip code, and then you'll hit find legislators, and there will give you a list of all of the people that are your legislators according to where you live, okay? So this is a really great website. There's a lot of information on here. I'll even take you to the Senate tab, or not the Senate tab, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, that was right, the Senate tab, and you can click on officers, which is the sub tab. So you can come here, pretty much see everything, including addresses if you need to mail out information. There's also phone numbers here too. Now, keep in mind that when you do call, it's probably not going to be the senator or the House, or excuse me, or the rep, but it will be someone that is in charge of their office. But they do a great job with getting messages to who it needs to go to. You can also click on members, and this will give you the complete list of all the members of all of our senators, excuse me. So you can scroll down, it gives you all the information. You can click on the individuals just to see a little bit more about their personal information if that's of interest to you, and different bills and voting records, and it's very public. So if there's anything that you have questions about, this is a great website to go to. So I'm going to reshare my PowerPoint here. So what I did was I just put in my address, and this is the information that I got back. So of course, our state senators, if you're in South Carolina, our state senators are going to be the same. Now, where it starts to change, excuse me, our United States senators are going to be the same. And also a United States representative, that's kind of where those differences will come in, as well as your state senator and then your SC state representative. So just depending on what part of South Carolina you live in, that's where you'll see some differences there, okay? Now, we are in charge of voting these individuals into office. So we'll talk a little bit about voting in just a second as well. Here we go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about get out and vote. So this is a quick fact, but on August 26, 1920, women earned the right to vote. So we've almost hit 100 years of having the right to vote. I think that's amazing. So for 100 years, we've been voting, you know, and we've had a lot of women that have been in very powerful positions, and it's still continuing on, which is a very beautiful thing. So how old do you have to be to vote?
18.
Yes, yes. You have to be 18 years or older in order to be eligible to vote. So make sure when you are 18, you go register, and make sure that your voice does not go unheard, because you can make serious changes in movements within your community, okay? So one quick way just to remember to keep up with all the dates, because there's different dates for different things, depending on what you're voting on. So make a voter reminder calendar, that will show when elections are held locally. So remember, local elections are usually not going to be in November as our presidential elections are. So we just had voting, I guess it was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. So just want to keep in mind of those different dates. And then when you are voting, you want to make sure that you educate yourself on all the candidates, attend campaign rallies, just to learn about more information about that individual and what they stand for. Also, anybody that's running, you're pretty much going to find their campaigning website. So you can go do research on different things that they believe in, different things that they stand for, and different issues that they want to tackle within their term if they're elected. So that's just a great tool to use. Google, get on the internet, also Instagram. I got a lot of information from Instagram, just clicking different links and finding out about who was running in our areas and who we could vote for. So just keep that in mind as well. All right. Now, Anna, do you have any questions? I know that was a lot, but do you have any questions about any of the topics that we discussed, or voting or anything like that?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna pull this back up here just to, of course, give you another idea of what we've kind of discussed today, and then what you'll get to discuss on your own. So I did not highlight any of the steps in green, because I do feel like each step is something that you should go back over and do your own research so you have a better understanding of advocating for change, and then your right to vote. So make sure, I know you've already completed behind the ballot, so you'll be completing public policy. So make sure that you go through your public policy badge steps, and just give yourself a few weeks to really focus in on those. All right. Any more questions? Any questions that popped up yet?
No.
No. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Awesome. So let's move here. I know you have seen our patch before. I do not know if you have it already, but just keep in mind that we do have our Girl Scouts Connected virtual program series patch that is in the shop now. So if you would like to order, it is there for you to order. Want to remind you that next Friday, we will not have programming because we're closed for the July 4th weekend. But I want you to join us back on that following Friday, which is July 10th. We're going to be talking about future financing. So that's going to be a really good topic. You definitely want to be a part of that. I also want to remind you, every Tuesday, we have our Girls Only Lounge at 5 o'clock, and we do activities for all levels of Girl Scouting. And so this week we did swap. So next week we're going to be doing origami. So make sure you check the website for the supplies that you're going to need for that session, and also for your session that's going to be on July 10th. So that should be up by next week for you, okay? All right. Well, Anna, I appreciate you coming on, staying with us, answering some questions. Thank you, because you were very brave to do that. Also, thank you, Ms. Christie, for being on as well. I appreciate it. If you think that you might have any questions that come up later on, don't forget we did record today's session. So if you saw anything on the slides that you wanted to hone in on some more, just check the website again, because that recording will be up by next week, okay? All right. All right. Well, ladies, y'all enjoy your weekend, and I will be seeing you soon.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.